In this WrestleTalk news, WWE sign Logan Paul. Officials are also high on a couple of NXT stars. I'm sure that'll go well for them. And an update on Jeff Hardy's DUI case. Plus loads more, so subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Now, if you're me, one of the things you didn't imagine that you would be writing or even saying in 2022 is that WWE have just signed Logan Paul. You know, the obnoxious YouTube guy, thus proving that there is still hope for Ollie Davis yet. I'm kidding, I'm just sassy in the morning. Now, I can knock his personality quite easily. This is the guy who filmed the dead body in the Japanese suicide forest after all and uploaded it to YouTube. But Paul had performed at this year's WrestleMania teaming up with The Miz against the Mysterios, and he was actually begrudgingly pretty damn good. And it seemed that despite his limited training, his performance in the ring was so good that a future with the company was pretty much all but guaranteed. Logan posted on his own Twitter to break the news saying, just signed with the WWE, and even getting the full-on finger point treatment from Triple H, who apparently just point for anything these days. Logan Paul, the sandwich fillings at Subway. Now, post-Mania, Paul implied that any financial figure for him to sign would have to be absolutely astronomical, but WWE has proven to be more profitable than ever this year, so clearly they've decided to just splash out. Now, more details have been trickling in, firstly from Ariel Helwani, who discovered that Paul will be around for the next few years, tweeting, per sources, it's a multi-year deal to compete at multiple events per year. No return date set, but could be next month at SummerSlam. Miz would make a lot of sense. He then updated to clarify what the deal encompasses, saying deal includes an undisclosed number of premium live events across 2022 and 2023. He'll likely, I'm told, have his first big appearance at SS SummerSlam, but could be on TV before that. And he signed his deal yesterday. Now, Paul seemingly confirmed his main aim in coming back to WWE, writing a message on the back of his contract reading, "Coming for you, at Miz." Now, he does know that ats don't work on paper. It's hard to tell with this younger generation. Does he know? Now, as I mentioned, Miz and Paul teamed at WrestleMania to take on the Mysterios before Miz decided to turn on Paul at the conclusion of the match, nailing him with a skull-crushing finale, and now obviously setting up the continuation of the feud. But seemingly in this, Paul is going to be presented as a babyface, despite who he is in real life. And despite the fact that during the Mysterios match, he proved himself to be an absolute master of getting heat with the crowd, even hitting Ray with the Three Amigos and Frog Splash, an old Eddie special. Now, whether or not the WWE audience are suddenly going to cheer for Paul remains to be seen, but when has that ever stopped WWE from doing something and then just carrying on doing it for a long, long time? I'm looking at you, Roman Reigns. Old Roman before we liked him. Now, signing with WWE is just another thing to add to Paul's eclectic portfolio alongside the 23-odd million YouTube subscribers, the boxing, and near single-handedly causing the Pokemon trading card economy to collapse after paying too much for a Charizard. I'll never forgive you. But Logan Paul and his premium live event-based deal does not an entire roster make, and with people out injured and a lack of new stars being built, it's about time for WWE officials to start looking to NXT once more to have a raid in their cupboards. Because according to Dave Meltzer, Lord of the Earwigs on Wrestling Observer Radio, he heard from sources that WWE officials have got their eyes on a couple of names in 2.0. 2.0 names. He pointed to Sanga and Zion Quinn as the two stars that officials are high on, saying, "I'll tell you what, both of these guys are being considered for the main roster right now," and adding that they view Quinn as the total package. Zion Quinn, it's good for wrestling, back pain, headaches. Why does it sound so much like a medicine? Now, Quinn is a former rugby player from Australia who signed with NXT in 2018 before making his TV debut in September 2021 and going on a bit of a lengthy winning streak. Sanga was previously part of Indushare alongside Veer Mahan, so if he does make his way to the main roster, it could take him ages. Speaking of NXT, while WWE officials are keeping their eye on it, one person shockingly isn't. Triple H. Because despite reportedly announcing to the Performance Center last week that he was back, baby, post-wrestling's John Pollock is reporting that Trips was not at this week's NXT taping. That might be nothing, that might be a precedent, and it might just be due to the massive amount of upheaval going on in WWE right now. When Vince left. Vince is gone. Not from telly, he's gone. Now for an update on Jeff Hardy, who is currently suspended without pay from AEW after being charged with driving under the influence and while his license was suspended/revoked. Hardy was charged on June 13th, and now PW Insider have acquired a copy of Hardy's written notification pleading not guilty to the DUI charge and waiving arraignment by filing this written plea of not guilty. In the notification, it was also said that the defendant further waives the right to be present at all pre-trial conferences. Now, AEW President Tony Khan has made it clear that rehab is Hardy's last chance with the company, saying of the arrest and charges that, "I'm really glad nobody got hurt, but what Jeff did going out and driving is different from the other thing, and I just don't like hearing the two compared, if that makes sense. I feel I'd be remiss if I didn't give Jeff a lot of credit for now doing the right thing," which is a reference to Hardy being in rehab since June 21st, and we here at WrestleTalk hope he gets all the help he needs. On to more positive AEW notes, and one of the things often talked about amongst the company's growing roster of titles is a Trios Championship, including Tony Khan, who has literally confirmed that he's already had them made and is just waiting for the right time to launch them. Well, Dave Meltzer seems to reckon he knows a thing or three about the Trios belts, saying on Wrestling Observer Radio that he heard that at one point the plan in AEW was to use Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks as catalysts for the new Trios titles when Omega returns from injury. Now, with Omega's return time frame basically up in the air, who knows if that plan is going to change, because on top of that you also now have the Bucks back once more as the AEW Tag Team Champions, who only just picked up the belts on the 15th of June from Jurassic Express, so Trios titles seem a long way off if they are to be the catalysts. Now, AEW and Tommy Wiseau might not know this, but there can be such a thing as too many belts, because they're meant to be something special, something coveted, and they can only really be that through scarcity. Now, AEW currently has 7 major championships and also the 6 Ring of Honor championships, while those 2 rosters are mixing. Tony Schiavone addressed this on this week's AEW Unrestricted podcast, saying he shouldn't even address this, and every fan has their opinion, but when it comes to thinking that AEW has too many titles, he doesn't think they do, because he likes title matches. Referee Aubrey Edwards agreed, noting that each championship has a history tied into them, and having multiple on the go means you get to see cool stuff happen, and you can rotate things in and out, especially when your roster is plagued with injuries. Every match is a title match. How is any title match special, guys? Anyway, speaking of injuries, AEW Dynamite played host to Blood and Guts this week, which featured the stellar main event of the Jericho Appreciation Society versus the Blackpool Combat Club in a heavily promoted Blood and Guts match. And while WWE might not be convinced that people want to watch all of that blood and guts stuff, the viewers were actually out in force for the episode, netting the show 1,023,000 viewers according to Showbuzz Daily. It also had a 0.36 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, up from last week's 0.31, and this is the first time that Dynamite has broken 1 million viewers since March. More bleeding, that's what we want, more bleeding. Get Cody Rhodes back. He bled on a dime, that guy. And finally, on Fridays, we kill a rumor, because speculation started going around that Impact star Jordynne Grace was AEW bound. Now, this all stemmed from a live stream from AEW music producer Mikey Ruckus, who was talking through the process of creating entrance themes for stars, wherein eagle-eyed fans spotted that some of the tracks he had been working on were for Jordynne Grace, and began to jump to the conclusion that she would be coming to AEW as a surprise. Fightful, though, stepped in to debunk the myth for Spoil Sports, saying that word of Ruckus working on a theme for Grace had surfaced a few weeks back, and then Jordynne herself clarified to them that Ruckus had been producing songs for her for a long while now, going back to before AEW even began. Don't believe everything you hear or see on the internet. Have a good weekend. Bye.
This was a return of AEW, focusing on AEW specific storylines again, which, watching unfold week to week, I find far more rewarding, especially when the booking and character work is so good. This Blood and Guts special felt almost as big as Sunday's Forbidden Door at times.